we have recession resistant. So people always need a place to live, no matter what the economic landscape is. So that's something that's not going to go anywhere. And that's kind of why it's recession resistant. And there's some stats to back that up, right? So we actually had less than a 1% default rate in 2008 for multifamily. In 2008, for those of you who lived under a rock for those years, it actually was one of the worst times in our economy's history. And for multifamily to be 0.4% default rate is pretty great. And the main reason for that is because there's multiple streams of income. So if one tenant's not paying, or if one unit is temporarily empty, then the overall units are probably still going to be profitable. Because we can lose a tenant, we can lose 2 tenants. If we have 100 tenants, we still got 98 other people. And the benefit there is, you can afford to lose people. The thing that happens quite a bit is you have circumstances come up in recessions where people lose their jobs, they can't pay rent. But the thing is, if you have 100 of them, it doesn't really matter if people lose their job because you have so many, your risk is so diversified. So that's kind of the benefit of having large multifamily is you get that diversified risk, and therefore it's recession resistant. So we also have an overall demographic shift to a renter culture. So home ownership is no longer the American dream. And this is something that's really important to understand. There's a lot of different drivers for this, but number one would be people don't really want the white picket fence anymore, the home, the family. You get out of school and you get married immediately and you have kids immediately and you guys buy a house. That's kind of what the baby boomers did, but millennials aren't really into that. And that's statistically proven here with the fact that there's been a 134% decrease in the number of renter households, increase in the number of renter households from 2004 to 2019. I apologize, it's a typo. But yeah, there's been a 134% increase in the number of renter households from 2004 to 2019. So quite a few more people are renting now. And number two would be the more traditional homeownership households, married families with kids, that's dropped from 41% of all households to 19. So the whole thing about marriage and kids and the whole classic, 2 kids and you live in the suburbs, that's kind of gone because number one, women have so many opportunities in the workplace now that they're able to actually test their skills in the marketplace and be rewarded for an extended period of time. So they forego having children earlier in life so that they can contribute to the workplace, and they're having the ability to do so in modern society. So there's a lot of different drivers causing this, but homeownership is definitely on the decline. So if we can own the place where everyone rents, that's going to be very beneficial for us in the long term. So we also have economies of scale. And to put this simply, it's buying in bulk, right? When you go to Costco, you end up paying less per unit because you're buying such a large quantity. And that's the same concept in multifamily. Basically, it's going to be a lot less expensive to build, operate, and maintain larger properties just because of the economies of scale. And the other benefit of this is that scale is going to allow you to hire full-time management. So you're going to have so much extra income that you can actually employ people on payroll to do all of the operations so that you can be anywhere in the world and run your property. I currently own properties in Louisville and Atlanta, and I'm located in Austin, Texas. It takes me about an hour a week to oversee the management process, and that's about all the time that I have to put into those properties because of the scale. Now, if I owned a single family house in Atlanta or Louisville, I'd be there, almost once a month in person trying to make sure everything went well. And it might maybe even be more than that. I might not even be able to do the long distance. I might have to have like a turnkey company do it for me, and then the margins are completely killed. So that's the benefit of scale and the size of multifamily. The other thing is passive income. So you receive income from tenant rents, right? So it's basically the people need a place to live and you're receiving income as a result of that. And that's coming in no matter what you do. And because of that economies of scale we just mentioned, even if you're an active investor, you have free time and you get to enjoy your life. And that's the real benefit, is the fact that it's an asset that you're going to be receiving passive income in, so you don't have to be trading your time for money anymore. You can make money every single month because people are going to be paying rents on the first of the month, regardless of what you do, right? Your management company's taking care of it. You have all the scales in place, and basically you're receiving passive income, and you're able to enjoy your life, which is what it's really all about. This is the other big benefit here, which is control. So cash flow is from a real asset, a real building that you can go and touch and feel. It's not on the screen. It's not a computer-based thing. It's not a stock on a screen or a number on a screen. It is a real building that you can go and see, touch, and walk in and live in. So it's a real physical asset. Number two, people always need a place to live. That's not going anywhere. Some things can get replaced by technology, but having a place to live is never going anywhere. And third is the actual way that commercial real estate is valued. So the way that multifamily and commercial real estate is valued is not based on comps. So it's not based on how cute your cabinets are, or your countertops, or your floors. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with your basically your profit. So it's the NOI or the profit divided by the cap rate, and that's what's going to equal your purchase price. So here's a really simple example here at the bottom that we'll walk through. So let's say you have a 50-unit apartment, and it has an NOI of $100,000, and the cap rate is 5%. So a cap rate is basically the market evaluation of both risk and also value of property. So what people agree to pay for a certain asset in a certain market is basically the cap rate, put simply. And so we can't necessarily control that, but if we can look for a market that has a relatively stable historical cap rate, then we know that that's going to stay somewhat the same. That means that we can actually increase the profit and raise quite a bit of value here because of this formula. So the formula is going to yield this $2 million purchase price on the front end, right? Because 100,000 divided by 0.05 equals 2 million. But we're going to actually increase that NOI here in this example by increasing the rent $100 per door, which is a pretty simple task, right? It's just $100 per door, not a huge deal. So you have 50 units, timesing it by $100 times 12 months. That's going to raise your profit or your NOI $60,000. And $60,000 doesn't seem like a big deal. It seems like kind of a small number. But when you look at this formula right here, which is this is still the same 50-unit building, but now it has an extra 60 grand of NOI. So it's no longer a $100,000 NOI property. It's $160,000. And so we take $160,000, divide that by 0.05, and our new price is $3.2 million. So this little $100 per door change is going to yield us $1.2 million in profit on that one simple thing. So that's the power, right? It's not about anything like, oh, I have to buy in the neighborhood and my neighbor has to have a nice house as well, and we have to go on comps, and then I have to get these cute countertops that I saw on Instagram. It's not like the whole flipping thing in single family. It's about business, it's about numbers, it's about profit increase, and that's something that you can control, and that's nice. Yeah, love forced appreciation. Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what another word for it there, Gregory, which is forced appreciation. So you're literally forcing that appreciation. You don't have to cross your fingers and hope for it. So proven, this is another great thing. So the question that I would ask you guys is, what has made more millionaires than all other industries combined? And I encourage everyone here to take a wild guess at this in the chat right now and just see what happens. So what do you guys think is the industry that's created more millionaires than all other industries combined? Real estate. Yeah, you guessed it, Gregory. Yep, Miguel as well, real estate. Yes, you are correct. Let's show you the answer. The answer is real estate by a long shot. And so here's some proof, because you may not believe me, right? I'm just a guy. But here's Andrew Carnegie. He's owned a lot more real estate than anyone in the Skull, maybe that will ever own, which is awesome. So good for him. But this is a quote that he has about real estate. 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. More money has been made in real estate than in all other industrial investments combined. And then he even goes on here to give you some advice, right? The wise young man or wage earner of today invests his money in real estate. So that's from Andrew Carnegie, right? If this guy is talking about it, I think it might be a decent thing to at least look into, you know?